Welcome everybody, my name is Robert Sherman and welcome back to Gravity Clubhouse. Now, in the garage clips, we're going to build on what we already created in the video. Building on this sometimes appears as if we're moving into a progressive format, but sometimes we have to reinforce one aspect of what we're doing in our training actually working as a progression or in some cases a regression to build on what was that foundation we were working on earlier. One of the exercises that I love and enjoy is working into what is our trunk rotation. When you play sport, when you throw a ball, everything has to go up and back first. When you swing a tennis racket or move a golf club, all those actions start with a lifted and rotated position in order to create that forward and powerful action moving down. The essential component there is not just the amount of rotation that you create, but the amount of stability while rotating. So I've added a progression of lifting movements into our workout, and I want to add some layers to that so that we can feel what can I reinforce and where can I grow with it next. So we started with both handles, and as we reach down towards the pulleys, we feel the muscles of our back into a stretch position. When we came up, we lifted immediately using the strength of our glutes, our core, and our hamstrings, and our rib cage to feel those muscles activate and fire, creating that rotation pattern. So I'll work through that a few times, stretching and going right into that back extended position with rotation. Now, this all feels challenging, but also feels good. One of the things we realize is that some of us don't have a great amount of mobility and rotation, so we kind of fudge it and move our hips as much as our shoulders. So the body is turning as a whole as opposed to really getting that torso rotation, maintaining stability of the hips. One way to increase the activation of the torso without the hips moving is to stay low kneeling as you work through that rotation as opposed to high. You'll feel a much deeper sense of muscle activation in order to create that movement because your hips are stationary. And as you work through that, I'm not able to move my hips, so compensation is easier to see where I'm going to start to want to lean back or even lengthen or lift my shoulders, trying to use more of my arms than my torso. So I'll perform that a couple more times. So you'll feel that stretch and extension, feel the shoulders down and back, and create that turn. Sometimes it's also easier to stay looking at the tower and create that rotation so you can really feel how those muscles become isolated. Is a progression always necessary? No. You can build on this one reinforced position just by stabilizing the hips as opposed to coming up into high kneeling. Another option. We moved into a single arm action, which meant when we go to one arm, how different does that make the body feel? Well, let's give it a try. I'm going to anchor down, I'm going to turn my body to the side, and I'm going to lower one of the cables. In this position now, if I turn to my side, what I do is increase the amount of reach I have to create the pattern, but it's also going to change how far I have to go when I move into it. So we did a single arm, what we call mirror image hands. In the video, we rotated and flexed internally in order to get back and extend externally. In a side kneeling position, high or low, we've got that same dynamic stability, but it's a little easier because I don't have to go quite as far through rotation. I also can feel the essence of what are my hips hinging, maintaining an active sense of balance over the glide board, and then creating that lift coming up above as I work through it. I want to change the dynamic of this. So I'm going to switch hands. So instead of mirror imaging on one hand, I'm now going to mirror image on the other. What changes is that follow through arm, I have to rotate further and use the muscles that work across my body in the front in addition to the muscles that work across behind. There are muscles that work from the side of my body on the left to the inside of my thigh on my right when I switch hands. On the back side, it's the glute and the lat on the opposite side that create that activation. I need both to perform well. So, mirror image other side. Hands in, palms open, reach up, flex down, torso, and turn. If I was to hinge back, I wouldn't have as much opportunity to turn, and obviously my range of motion is smaller. When I come up, I create a much bigger compound movement pattern all the way through. Challenging with the opposite mirror hands, I want to keep my hands close together as if I was holding a pulley on the other side, but knowing that the force is being driven from an entirely different pattern than it was on the hand that I started with. So I'm going to switch back, show you the dynamic difference, and work through that pattern. Creating that turn, lift and extension, and back down. So when I create my lifting actions, all that rotation, all that fire, all that power that I get to go back is what's going to increase my ability to drive force forward. I need both. But if I minimize my ability to reach up and create that lifting and torso rotation, I minimize my ability to perform. This is a great progression and regression, if you want to look at it that way. I think they're both essential to building a foundation of strength. Thank you.